Hey, good evening, Valley. Tonight we're going to be working with triangles again, only tonight we'll be finding the missing angle. Let's start with the baseball trivia question. What is Babe Ruth's real name? Good question. You can share the answer with your parents later on tonight. All right, tonight officially our target is 10.4b. I can find the missing angle or angles of a triangle. Let's take a look at this first example here. Here's the Eiffel Tower that we used last night. Last night we had to determine what type of triangle it is. Tonight we need to find the missing angle. So now that you can see where I got my triangle, I'm just going to minimize this so we can see the triangle better. So we have 75 degrees and we have 75 degrees. And we've got one angle that's missing here, and I can take and stick a question mark in there if you'd like. And we need to find out what that angle is. So I told you last night that there's 180 degrees in all the interior angles if you add them all up. And so all you have to do to find the missing angle is take 180 degrees, the total, subtract whatever angles you know. So I subtracted minus 75 and minus 75, and that'll give you the missing angle. Well, I did that. I just combined the two 75s to equal 150 to make it easier for you. So 180 minus 150 equals 30 degrees. So this angle up here is 30 degrees. If I want to double check my answer, it's real simple. I just say 75 plus 75 is 150, plus 30 more is 180. If my answer totals up to be 180, I'm right. Okay? I'll show you some other tricks throughout the night as well. Let's get to our vocabulary word of the day, which is angles of a triangle. And this just simply says what I told you. The sum of all the angles in the triangle will equal 180 degrees. So we have angle X, angle Y, and angle Z. You add them all together, you get 180 degrees. Let's take a look at this example here of this right triangle. Here I'm only given one angle because it says 45 degrees, and that's the only number I've given. But they have this little box here, remember, in the corner? And that means that it's a right angle or 90 degrees. So if I want to find the measure of this angle here, I'll take 180 minus the 90 degrees, that's my right angle, minus 45 degrees equals, and I know what the answer is, but I'll put it into the calculator just so you can see how to do this. You just go 180 minus the 90 degrees minus the 45 degrees, and that gives me 45 degrees. So my missing angle is 45 degrees. So I'll pop that in there, and I'll also pop it in up here and get rid of the question mark. Now, if I want to check my answer, again, I just add them up. I've got 45 plus 45, that is 90, and then of course add that to the other 90 degree angle, you have 180. I love working with right triangles because they always have half of the angles in a triangle. 90 is half of 180. So many times I just look and say, oh, right angle, the other two have to add up to equal 90. So if I've got a 60 down here, this is going to be a 30 because 30 and 60 is 90. If I have a 50 down here, this will be a 40 because it'll always be 90. The other half will be the other right angle, which is 90 degrees. I'll show you that and some other little tricks in action here coming up. All right, here's our first example tonight. And for each of the examples, I've included that original example that we worked on right up here, my 75, 75, and how we found that this was a 30 degree angle. That's just a kind of a helper. All right, so we have 20 degrees here, and we have 150 degrees in this scalene triangle. So we've got an obtuse scalene triangle. So pop it in. I have 180 minus the 20 minus the 150, and that equals 10 degrees. So 10 degrees is my answer here. Let's double check my work. I have 150, 160, 170, and 10 more makes 180. That's all you have to do. All right, I want to show you one other kind of cool thing that really helps me a lot. Remember our triangle here, the Eiffel Tower one? Well, let me make it a little bit smaller here so you can once again see this angle here. I've got my 30 degree angle right here. You know what, I'm going to put that back so that you can see it. I think you can see it better, the yellow ink there. You have this 30 degree angle here, But you also have these little hash marks that tell me that this side and this side are the same length. Well, when you have an isosceles triangle, you only need to know one angle, really, because two of the angles will be the same. All right? So, we're given this top angle. These bottom two have to be the same, because look at my little chart over here. When two sides are the same, like in these isosceles triangles, two angles will be the same. In an equilateral triangle, when three sides are the same, three angles will be the same. And then there's that example that we just did, that scalene triangle. Zero sides are the same or equal, zero angles will be equal. So keep that in mind. Watch how I solve this one. So I only have one angle, so I know that my missing angles are going to be the same. So I have 130, 180 degrees minus that 30-degree angle minus two other question marks. Well, if I take 180 and I subtract 30, I have 150. And then I just divide that number by 2 because both of these angles will be the same. And I get 75. I'll pop that back in and let's just see if it makes sense. Here are the two identical sides, so these two angles down here at the bottom will be the same. So I have 75 and 75, and that equals 150, plus that 30 equals 180. So keep that in mind. It's helpful to remember. If you have three sides that are the same, you'll have three angles that are the same. If you have two sides that are the same, you'll have two angles that are the same. If no sides are the same length, no angles will be the same. All right? All right, let's do 9 problems. Here we go. I've left this little example up there on top. Here we go. Problem number 1, 2, and 3. And I'm just going to pause and let you use your calculator to work through and find the missing angle. Remember, subtract the known angles from 180 degrees to get the missing angle. Go ahead. All right, let's take a look at number 1 here. Well, we had a 45 degrees and we had a 90-degree angle. So if we subtract those, our missing angle is 45 degrees. Here I had a 30-degree angle and a 40-degree angle. So those together are 70 degrees. So if I subtracted them from 180, 180 minus 70 would be 110. All right, here's an isosceles triangle. I have 80 degrees on the bottom and 80 degrees on the bottom. So if I subtract those two from 180, that top one would be 20 degrees. All right, I hope you're 3 for 3. Let's try 3 more. Go ahead and pause the video and do these 3. Go ahead. I'm back. All right. This one here, they didn't mark it as a right angle, but they gave us this as a 45-degree angle, and this is a 45-degree angle. So we know that this one has to be 90 degrees. This one here, we had 50 and 80. If I add those together, I have 130. 180 degrees minus 130 is 50. That's the other angle, is 50 over here. And again, we know that because this is an isosceles triangle. These two sides are the same, so these two base angles will be the same. This one here is an equilateral triangle. We got 60 plus 60. We know that the third angle has to be 60 as well. Equilateral. All sides equal, all angles equal. All right, one more set of 3 for you to try before your ticket to the show. Go ahead and do these 3. Go ahead and pause it. I see dead people. All right. We've got 40 and 65 is 105, so we need 75 degrees. If you did that right on the calculator. This one here, you had 110 degrees and 35 degrees. That together is 145, so your missing angle Q is 35 degrees. This one here, we had 90 degrees. On this angle, of course, because it's marked with a square, 90-degree angle. We got 35 up here, so this other angle here is 55 degrees. All right, let's move on. Our ticket to the show today. Find the missing angles. We got 20, 70, and something. And you know what? This one is wrong. Let me change that. This is 20 degrees, 80 degrees and something. And then you've got a 45 degree, a something, and of course that angle there, which I'm going to make you figure out. All right, take a quick peek at those. All right, let's get to the ticket to the show. Sorry, the trivia question. What's Babe Ruth's real name? His name is George Herman Ruth. He had 714 home runs. This guy was not just an outstanding baseball hitter, probably the greatest hitter of all time, even better than Hank Aaron, because the guy was, he was before his time. I take that back. I think Hank Aaron was a better home run hitter. But Babe Ruth was the man who made baseball. He really did. He swung a 44-ounce bat. Most people today swing a bat that's about 30 ounces. That's a heavy bat. Rumor has it that he even swung at one point in time a 56-ounce bat. He was big, he was strong, he was baseball. George Herman Ruth. Ask your parents if they know what Babe Ruth's real name is tonight. Thanks for listening. See you later.